The date is March 8, 1983, and the venue is the Agricultural Hall in Allentown, Pennsylvania. The air is thick with anticipation, the crowd a restless tide of humanity ready to witness history. In the center of the ring, two legends of the squared circle, Jules Strongbow and his wise, battle-worn partner, Chief Jay Strongbow, stand ready to defend one of the most coveted prizes in professional wrestling, the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championship. But across from them, their challengers do not merely stand, they prowl. Two behemoths, built like granite statues and with eyes that burned with a primal ferocity, stare them down. They are Afa and Sika, the Wild Samoans, and they are not just here to win. They are here to seize what they believe is rightfully theirs. As the bell rings, the Samoans unleash a whirlwind of controlled chaos. There are no fancy moves, no high-flying theatrics. This is a brutal ballet of pure, unadulterated power. They headbutt their opponents with the force of battering rams. They chop with the impact of falling trees that makes the crowd recoil and roar in equal measure. Managed by the manic and brilliant Captain Lou Albano, they are an unstoppable force of nature, a living, breathing testament to the idea that raw, untamed aggression can and will conquer all. The Strongbows, valiant as they are simply outmatched. The Samoans were a different kind of animal, a breed apart from the polished gladiators and clean-cut heroes of the era. Their victory is decisive, a brutal statement of dominance. When the referee's hand hits the mat for the final time, the Wild Samoans are once again the tag team champions. This is not their first time, it is their third. It is a moment that cements their legacy, a defining chapter in the story of a tag team so dangerous, so primal, that they would become a permanent fixture in the annals of wrestling history. But what the crowd in Allentown didn't know, couldn't possibly know, was that this victory was more than just a title win. It was the beginning of an era, a forgotten epoch of a bloodline that would one day rule wrestling, birthing legends from Yokozuna to Rikishi, from the Usos to one of today's most dominant figures, the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns. The story of the Wild Samoans is not merely about two men, it is the genesis story of an empire. To understand Afa and Sika, you must first understand the world they came from. Their journey began far from the bright lights of the World Wrestling Federation, in the sun-drenched islands of American Samoa. Born into the legendary Anoa'i family, they were raised in a world where wrestling was not just a sport, but a way of life, an almost sacred tradition passed down through generations. Their father, Amituana I Anoa'i, was a blood brother to the equally iconic Peter Maivia, forging a bond that would intertwine their families forever. They learned the brutal artistry of the mat at an early age, but it was their journey to North America that truly set them on their path to greatness. After honing their craft in various territories, they found themselves under the tutelage of Stu Hart in Calgary's famed Stampede Wrestling. It was here, in the cold, unforgiving landscapes of Canada, that the Wild Samoans, as we know them, were truly forged. They won the Stampede International Tag Team Championship twice, a testament to their growing dominance. They moved through territories like ghosts in the night, appearing in Vancouver, Detroit, and various NWA promotions, leaving a trail of broken opponents and captured titles in their wake. They were a global force long before they ever stepped foot in the World Wrestling Federation, but it was their arrival in the Federation in 1979 that truly brought their unique, captivating brand of savagery to the masses. They were initially billed simply as the Samoans, a name that was later refined to the more fitting Wild Samoans. The Federation, under the discerning eye of Vince McMahon Sr., saw the untapped potential in these two raw powerhouses. Their manager, the loud, flamboyant, and utterly brilliant Captain Lou Albano, was the perfect foil for their silent, menacing presence. Albano, with his rubber bands and wild hair, acted as their interpreter, a carnival barker for their primitive grunts and menacing stares. He claimed to be the only one who could understand their dialect, a masterful piece of theatrical gimmickry that enhanced their mystique and made them seem even more alien and dangerous. Their look was as iconic as their in-ring style: wild afros, Fu Manchu mustaches, and a total disregard for the conventional trappings of a professional athlete. They bit their opponents, picked their noses with a theatrical flourish, and even famously ate raw fish during interviews, a grotesque and captivating display that left fans both horrified and transfixed. They were a walking, talking spectacle, a throwback to a more primal time in wrestling. Their Madison Square Garden debut on January 21, 1980, was a statement. With a disqualification victory over the champions, Tito Santana and Ivan Putski, the message was clear. A new, formidable threat had arrived. Their raw power and unconventional tactics immediately made them top contenders. The crowd, a mix of hardened wrestling fans and casual onlookers, couldn't take their eyes off them. They were a train wreck you couldn't help but watch. In the months that followed, both Afa and Sika even challenged for Bob Backlund's championship belt, a rare honor that spoke volumes about their standing as legitimate main event threats. They were a hurricane of muscle and fury, and it was only a matter of time before they captured the gold. On April 12, 1980, they finally did it. In a hard-fought battle, they defeated Santana and Putski to begin their first reign as tag team champions. They held the titles for 5 months, a reign of terror marked by one brutal defense after another. Their dominance was broken by a bizarre circumstance at Showdown at Shea, where they lost the titles to the impromptu team of Bob Backlund and Pedro Morales. But because Backlund was the reigning Federation champion, the team had to forfeit the titles. A tournament was held to crown new champions, and who should emerge victorious? The Wild Samoans themselves, defeating Tony Garea and René Goulet in the finals on September 8, 1980, to begin their second reign. Their subsequent loss to Garea and his new partner, Rick Martel, and their inability to recapture the gold for the rest of the year, marked a temporary lull in their dominance. They subsequently left the Federation for a period, continuing their journey through other territories, conquering Mid-South and Georgia Championship Wrestling, and adding more titles to their incredible resume. But the siren call of the Federation was too strong, and in 1982 they returned, more menacing and powerful than ever. This time, they sported an even more rugged and feral look that signaled their return to a state of absolute savagery. With their trusted manager, Captain Lou Albano, back in their corner, they wasted no time in reclaiming their throne. This brings us back to that fateful night in Allentown, Pennsylvania, on March 8, 1983. Their victory over the Strongbos for their third Tag Team Championship was more than just a win. It was a reclamation. Their reign was as dominant as their previous ones, but it was also marked by a significant shift in their dynamic. As Sika suffered an injury, Afa's son, Samula, stepped in, adding a new dimension to the team. Upon Sika's return, the three men, Afa, Sika, and Samu, became a fearsome trio, a precursor to the modern-day Bloodline faction. But as all great reigns must, theirs came to an end. On November 15, 1983, they lost the titles to the popular babyface team of Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. The finish was a moment of beautiful poetic justice. Albano, in a moment of frantic desperation, attempted to use a wooden chair to aid his team, but he missed his target and accidentally hit Afa. Atlas capitalized on the mistake, pinning the incapacitated Afa for the victory. The loss marked a turning point. The Samoans, now without the titles, found themselves in a new kind of feud. After the North-South connection of Adrian Adonis and Dick Murdoch won the titles from Johnson and Atlas, the Wild Samoans underwent a dramatic transformation, turning face and challenging them for the belts. This was a fascinating evolution for a team built on pure aggression. They were no longer the savage villains. They were now the anti-heroes, the two wild men who had found a cause to fight for. Though they failed to recapture the belts, the feud was a captivating showcase of their versatility and their enduring popularity. They eventually left the Federation again in 1985, leaving behind a legacy of dominance and a reputation as one of the most feared and respected tag teams of their era. But their story did not end with their departure from the Federation. Sika had a notable return to the company from 1986 to 1988, managed by the cunning Mr. Fuji, where he competed in both singles and tag team competition alongside the fearsome Kamala. He was a part of the historic WrestleMania 4 Invitational Battle Royal, a testament to his longevity and status. Afa, in a full-circle moment, returned to the Federation in 1992, not as a competitor, but as a manager, guiding his son Samu and his nephew Fatu as the head shrinkers. This was more than just a managerial role, it was a passing of the torch, a continuation of the Anoa'i legacy. Afa's guidance helped to shape the next generation of Samoan superstars, cementing his place not just as a legendary wrestler, but as a cornerstone of the wrestling world. He was a mentor and a patriarch, and his influence can be seen in every Samoan star who followed. In the years that followed, Afa and Sika continued to build on their legacy outside of the ring. Afa founded the Wild Samoans Training Center, a revered institution that has produced an astonishing list of legends, including Bam Bam Bigelow, Batista, and the late Yokozuna. They also promoted their own live wrestling shows under the WXW banner, showcasing their commitment to the industry they loved. In 2007, their contributions were officially recognized when they were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame on the eve of WrestleMania 23, a moment that saw their sons, Samula and Mata Noari, deliver the induction speech. It was a fitting tribute to a duo who had done so much to shape the landscape of professional wrestling. Though they would occasionally appear at events, their time as active wrestlers was largely over, but their story, their influence, and their bloodline continued to grow. In 2020, they returned to celebrate Sika's son, Roman Reigns, following his victory at Hell in a Cell, a powerful symbolic moment that connected the original Wild Samoans to the modern-day tribal chief, linking the past to the present in one powerful image. The story of Afa and Sika is one of primal power, of family, and of a legacy so profound it would echo through generations. They were more than just a tag team. They were the foundation of an empire. May they both rest in peace, their legacy forever etched in the very soul of professional wrestling.